We are live. Hello, happy Thursday evening. It's Thursday, right? Yes. So today is the last day of March, and that's exciting. And I'll tell you why. Because last week I had the big C. I got the COVID. So I'm really happy that that is over and done with. And now my family has it. So that's exciting. So this is kind of a long-winded process, and there's 5 members of my family. And a few years ago, the kids had the chicken pox. Even though they were vaccinated for the chicken pox, they all still got the chicken pox. But it was one kid after another. When I had the chicken pox, my brother and I had it at the same time, and same with my cousins. So the whole family got it at the same time, but then not my family, my kids. I had one kid one week, and then the next week, and then the third week. It was 3 weeks of the chicken pox. And I kind of feel like that's the big C of what's happening in the house right now. So that's tons of fun of everyone being sick. And it really does, rob you of your energy. And a lot of us are complaining like our eyeballs hurt, like it hurts to think. So my point in sharing this with you is A, that's why we didn't go live last week. And B, tomorrow is April 1st. So tomorrow we start chapter 4, which is exciting, of 2022. And I'm really, really ready for April because April is my birthday month. When you get to my age, it is a birthday month. It's no longer a birthday. So I need to get excited. I'm pretty pumped. There's some pretty exciting, personal things that are happening in the first few days of April. And my brother's birthday is Sunday and my birthday is Monday. And so we are really close together, and it's his 40th. So that's, he doesn't live anywhere near me. So I will obviously have to have a drink and do some crazy video conferencing with him. But it's just a fun family, personal month. My nephew's birthday is mid-April. My middle daughter, she's turning 16 this month. She's in April. So April is like a crazy, thank you very much, Facebook user. Happy birthday. Thank you. It never shows the names, eh? I don't know who's watching when I'm on StreamYard, but thank you for being here. And so yeah, it's my brother's birthday, my birthday, my nephew's birthday, my daughter's birthday, my stepbrother's birthday. We have Earth Day in April. We have Easter in April. I swear April is just like December. And I have 2 birthdays and Christmas and New Year's. Debbie, oh my God, you're such an amazing, loyal fan. I fucking love you. Thank you for being here. So Renee and I are going to talk about decluttering your life, decluttering your house, your space, your mind. All of that kind of comes into play as we talk about decluttering. And so just a few things as we go into April. Renee and I have decided that we're going to segue a little differently. So I think instead of going live in the group, we are probably going to post a recorded video in the group, still weekly, but we're going to try some Instagram lives, and we're also going to do a little bit of YouTube. So we're kind of toying around with the technology that we have and the different platforms and the mediums that we can do, because this is actually getting some traction, and it's kind of cool the way that this year is unfolding. And so Renee and I were like, I think we need to expand this a little bit more. So the videos will still be posted in the group. I'll probably still go live because I love to talk anyways, and I'll bring something amazing or funny to the table. And I don't know if we're going to go live on our business pages or if we're just going to do a recorded video. And we're also going to be bringing back a podcast. So watch for that. That's going to be exciting because Renee and I are bringing out a podcast starting in April. Woo. All right. Yes. Decluttering. So we said I wrote that we were going to focus on 3 steps to decluttering your life. But I think that's going to be 3 steps from Renee and 3 steps from me, because we kind of started chatting and we're like, there's actually quite a bit to decluttering, and it's hard to narrow it down to 3. So you're going to get 3 from her and 3 from me. But I'm going to let Renee go first because she's going to talk a little bit about the mind, which is
Yeah. Well, first, I want to talk about some interesting one little tidbit, I should say, is clutterers, people who I guess like clutter, I guess how you would say it, clutterers. People who have trouble with clutter often have certain characteristics. So it's interesting. And I think I have some of these characteristics. So
uh-oh.
do you struggle with time management and stop tasks before finishing? Yes. Do you have perfectionist tendencies and trouble stopping and starting projects? um, are you easily sidetracked, such as those with attention deficits? Typically, people who get trouble from clutter often are people who spend a lot of time doing things with others and for others. And if you make a habit of putting things off, also known as procrastination, that's also a characteristic. So I have a few of those. I don't know if that means, well, I kind of am. I do have some clutter. I'm not a minimalist by any means. So, but what I want to do is go into talk a little bit, and there's more than 3. Well, it's actually not 3 tips. It's actually kind of a little process around decluttering your mind. So, to do that, if you feel you have clutter in your mind, there's a few things you can do. So the first thing you should try is, create a mental inventory and write down all the things that you need to do and the things that you should be doing, and then the things that you want to do. So once you have that inventory, you want to consider why you're doing each of these things. So you want to go through each one and really, really consider it and really think about it. Because we burden ourselves with unnecessary responsibilities all the time. And we're so distracted by all the things we should be doing and could be doing, we completely forget to ask ourselves, do I even want to do these things? Right? So you want to go through each one. And then for every item on your list, you want to ask 2 questions. Is this task or assignment or whatever it is it vital? And does it matter to me or someone I love? And if your answer is no to both of these, you've just identified a distraction and cross it off your list. And don't think about it. Get that out of your mind. And then what you do is when you go through that, you take what's left and divvy it up. So take anything that matters but you haven't done yet, or, and break it into small actionable projects. So things that you haven't done or things that you started doing and haven't finished, really break them up into small projects. And then spend time every day, even if it's just a few minutes, to revise your inventory and go through this process again. Because sometimes, things that matter to you before may not matter anymore. You can just cross it off, right? So that's kind of a little process you can do around decluttering your mind. And then I do have 3 tips for decluttering your space. So number 1, start small, right? Like pick one drawer or pick one cabinet to organize. And that way you'll be less likely to be discouraged. And then you get the pleasure of seeing something that's been well organized. You see this really nice space and it makes you feel good. And then, build in some structure, right? So if you invite your friends over for dinner, you'll be motivated to declutter your kitchen. If you schedule some time to take, your unneeded items somewhere to get rid of them, you have a target date for completing your decluttering. And then make sure you do allow a little bit of extra time because it can take longer than you expect. And then number 3 is don't strive for perfection. There's no need to hide items that you use a lot, right? Also, try not to judge your spaces against those of other people, of other spaces. So those are some of the tips I have. Pretty quick, but
that's good. No, I like the psych of the mind,
Yeah.
like, okay, so, and it does trickle into other aspects of our life. And I mean, you'll be familiar. Good points, Renee, was the comment that just came in.
Thank you.
So you'll also be familiar with the saying, but how we do one thing is how we do all things, right?
Everything.
And
Yeah.
that's what we learn in health coaching school. And it really took me a long time to understand that how you do one thing is how you do all things. And I was like, what does that mean? But when I applied it to, how my house is, if my house is clean or cluttered, then usually, you're rushing, and then the office is clean or cluttered, and it kind of trickles into everything, how you feel overwhelmed, how you have a hard time starting and finishing projects, how you have a hard time focusing. Like, it definitely plays into all aspects of your life. So, I mean, personally, obviously going through health coaching school, we are to coach ourselves first, and then we're able to help other people. And so that is kind of, like health coaching 101. Declutter your space, declutter your mind, get your shit together, right? And I always like say that to my children. I'm like, it's easy to clean a clean house. So as long as everything has a place, then it needs to return to that place. And I just actually had this conversation with my youngest yesterday, because she keeps coming in the house and she leaves her shoes at the door. And I was like, the closet is right there. All you need to do is open the closet and put your shoes in the closet. Like, it's pretty freaking simple. Or, take them to your room if you don't want to put them in the closet, but there's space. And just simple things like that. Shoes have a place in the closet or in your bedroom, And so just as long as everything has a place. So my 3 tips are: number 1, if you want to know, like, okay, where am I going to start? Like, what method am I going to use to start decluttering everything? So we want to start with the what is it called? 4-step box method. Okay. So as you start to go through your space and go through your house, you're going to have a giant garbage bag. So everything that you're going to throw out, this is stuff that I'm just going to get rid of. It gets out of the house. This is my garbage. Number 2 is stuff that I'm going to donate. So I'm either going to donate or I'm going to have a big ass garage sale and sell it. Number 3 is things that I want to store. Like, I don't need this all the time. And my oldest and I had this conversation, I think today or yesterday, about, like, we have a lot of dishes. So for the family of 5, I don't need to use all of those dishes every single day. But when I have my family at Christmas, which I'm going to probably have about 12 people in the house at Christmas, I need all those dishes. And so we were talking about where we could store the extra dishes and the extra blankets, because everyone stays at my house, which I don't need every day, but we have to have proper storage for those things so that I can pull them out when I have extra company. But it doesn't need to create clutter in the house of just kind of laying around the kitchen and laying around in the laundry room, or, the spare bedroom, like the blankets are just kind of thrown everywhere. It needs to be washed and cleaned and folded and put away, whether it be in the closet or in a storage bin, and then brought out, when I have those extra people. Same with, like, my sleeping bags and all the camping gear. Like, the camping gear can't just be everywhere. It needs to be in a couple bins so that when we go camping, we pull out the camping gear and away we go. And it's not this whole process of, oh my God, paper plates for my people. Yeah. She's like, these paper plates. I know, but it's at Christmas, man. You can't use paper plates at Christmas. It's like the whole 9 yards, right? But yes, when I have my summer barbecues, you damn right, it's all paper plates. So number 1 is your trash. Number 2 is your giveaway donate. Number 3 is your, storage of extra stuff or seasonal. So I used to have, like, a whole bunch of seasonal decor. I don't have so much anymore. It's basically like everyday living and then Christmas. I love Christmas, but other people will have,
Halloween.
Yeah,
Halloween's
Halloween.
my holiday.
My Halloween is like one container, but my Christmas is like all of this. So, but yeah, you want to make sure that your seasonal decor, has a space and a place for it. And then the 4th one is, again, everything has to have its own place. So make everything have its own place. Store things where they belong. I'm trying to think of things like I'm pretty anal with that. Like everything has to have a place, and then the house looks a little bit cleaner. So that's tip number 1 is the 4-step method. And then tip number 2 is, where do we start? Okay, I need to declutter my house. Where should I start? So number 1, always start in the kitchen, because we are in the kitchen so many times. Christmas themed, I'm just reading the comments, Christmas themed paper plates. Yes, that would be ideal. Okay, that is going to be my mission, because I'm going to have like a buttload of people this year for Christmas. So I'm going to have to find Christmas themed paper plates. Okay, so we always want to start with our fridge. Okay, always recommend start with your fridge, because you want to, and I do this every single week. So I will get rid of all of the leftovers that haven't been eaten. I will freeze whatever I can freeze. I pull everything out. I wipe it all down, and then I start my food prep. So the kitchen is the number 1 place, like the fridge and then the kitchen. And of course, if you're starting healthy habits, then you want to make sure you're getting rid of all of your processed food, all of the crap food, all the half-eaten food. Like just toss it, get rid of it. And it is amazing how much better you feel and more productive you feel when you start with your fridge. And then you expand that to the kitchen, because if you have like 3 can openers, come on, you don't need 3 can openers. You need 1. And I mean, even for blenders, like my daughter tried to make a smoothie the other day and she was like, Mom, the blender's not working. And I'm like, oh, it's because you have it on the wrong attachment. And she's like, what? And I said, well, I have attachments for the food processor, and then I have attachments for the blender. And then I have like all these different kinds of graters. Ugh. It's a little bit of an ordeal in my kitchen. So yeah, I definitely would have to take my own advice. The food, though, we're good. It's just the appliances, which I do try to condense. And I have kind of created a shelf under the stairs of appliances that are only get used sometimes. So things rotate, things change. So number 2 would be your desk. Okay, if you have a home office, then you want to go through and make sure that your desk is clutter free. There is nothing more that I hate than coming downstairs and coming to my desk and being like, oh my God, this is a shit show. It's very hard to be productive. It's very hard to pick up where I left off and, focus on what needs to be done today when the clutter is everywhere. So you want to make sure that you are creating a shred pile, a garbage pile, and a to-do pile. So get rid of your shredding, get rid of your garbage, and then you just have your to-do pile. There's a couple emojis coming up right now, Renee. they're not happy emojis. So cleaning out that desk, but you will be more creative. You will be able to think, you will be more productive, and you will get shit done when you have a clear working space. And I know some of the overwhelm is when you're living in clutter. If your office looks like a bomb, went off and you've got papers everywhere, like kind of what I have right now. My kitchen table upstairs last week has just been covered because I'm in like knee deep into creating new workshops and I want to do a new marketing plan. And I've just had crap everywhere and kind of going to it and coming to it and going back from it. And the kitchen table, no one's been able to sit at the kitchen table for 2 weeks, but I blamed it on the COVID because I didn't have the energy to clean it up. I actually just cleaned it up today. So now the kitchen table is back to being a kitchen table, but my workshops are created. So I feel, okay, production has happened. And sometimes you need to move your space around because my hub is down here at my desk. But then sometimes I feel a little more creative upstairs, like there's more light upstairs. So anyways, that's creativity. That's not clearing the clutter. Number 3 is your purse. So how many of you have a junk trunk? That's like your junk trunk with a handle. Okay, it's time to clean that shit out. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but every spring, I don't know if it's just because it's my birthday or if it's springtime, but when I'm in the mall, I am like a purse whore. Like you have to hold me back from buying purses. I have too many. And it's just an accessory that I love to have. And I'm always seeing new designs and new colors. And I love purses. So I try And for me, though, like a purse needs to be functional because I buy the pretty ones. But if I don't have a place for my cell phone or my keys, I hate it. It drives me nuts. So a purse, it needs to be able to hold my phone in a separate area and my keys in a separate area, because those are the two things that I'm grabbing all the time. My wallet can be in the main area, but I hate it when I go in there and there's Kleenex and there's pads and there's hand sanitizer and there's tampons and there's receipts. And I'm like, oh my God, Katrina,
I
like
have
get
to
your shit
say,
together.
we are opposite. I hate winter, but I'm going to be sad when winter goes away because I never carry a purse because everything goes in my winter jacket pockets. I carry nothing with me. It's like I hate carrying a purse. So we are so opposite that way.
Well, I will, like, it depends where I'm going, because I will stuff like my butt jean pockets with like my credit card, my jackets with my keys, my Kleenex, my pads, so I will use my pockets in the wintertime too. But I do carry the purse just usually because everything's in there, like paper and pen and pads and Kleenex and sanitizer, like everything's in there. So but if you can declutter your purse so that it's a little more, yes, me too, right? My mom, oh my God, we call it the magic bag. She has like pliers, nail files, tweezers, like
weigh
tape.
like 50 pounds.
Yes. Her purse, it's short and fat. I was like, oh my God, she's got everything in there. So it's pretty funny how, what women, I was watching, I don't know if you guys are familiar with on Facebook, I'm Mom So Hard. It's hashtag I'm Mom So Hard. And they're two moms and they're comedians. And it's so funny. I watched one of their shows and they actually go through the audience and they pull everyone's purse and they go through it all. Some people have like booze in their purse. There's always like a chocolate bar. There's, cards in your cards in the coats. Okay. She likes to put her cards in her coats so that she doesn't have to carry a purse. But it's pretty funny to go through other women's purses to be like, all right, what are your essentials? Like, what do you do when you leave the house? I think that's pretty funny. Okay, so number 5 is your closet. So seasonal, you can season your closet to keep the updated, clothing that you need at the forefront. And then what have you got in the back of your closet? Seriously, I have like an old stripper outfit that I put on every now and again to make sure that it fits. I was never, ever a stripper, but my girlfriend gave it to me that was from a stripper, and it's a cord jumpsuit and it's got bell bottoms. And I always put it on probably like maybe twice a year, just to see if it still fits. Like, I don't know why I keep it, but it's in there. And then I probably have outfits from when my mom was like my age or younger, just to, again, see if it still fits. So some of it's sentimental. And then some of it's, I don't know. I will go through all of my clothes probably 4 times a year and pull out what I'm not wearing anymore. And then I will donate that because the closet gets really full. And the drawers, oh my God. Every time I buy a new outfit, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this and then I'm going to get rid of something. But I always forget to get rid of something. And then my drawers don't close. And then I'm like,
shoving stuff in there.
Yes, but I'm still going, I have nothing to wear. And I have like all of these clothes, but I probably wear the same 3 shirts over and over and over again. So this just, it's kind of slapping reality in your face, like a little bit. Okay, then the next one would be digital. So, and I know like this one, I'm probably the biggest procrastinator on, but going through your inbox, delete, unsubscribe, remove, get rid of. Okay, I'm really, you know what? I always think, oh, but it sounds so good. And the title sounds good. And I might like glimpse the email, but a lot of it is just fluff. It's not actually adding value to my life. It's not anything that I'm going to invest in. So, and then in saying that, like as someone who does weekly newsletters, I try so hard to make sure that my emails are full of value. I want you to get my email and be like, oh my God, what is she talking about today? Because I want to learn something. And that is my goal every time I send an email, is for you to have an aha moment and for you to learn something. So if I'm not learning anything and if you're not bringing value to my life, I'm going to unsubscribe from you. But if I look forward to your emails and I read them and they make me feel good, or they inspire me, or they teach me something I don't already know, I'm going to keep you on my list. So that would be of value.
Well, and another thing, if somebody sends me more than 3 emails a week, I'm done. Unsubscribe.
Right.
I'm like, I don't need to hear from you that many times.
True. Yes.
People
And I find
email every day, and I'm like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
don't need this that much. What can you be telling me every
Yeah.
day that you
They'll
can't
vent.
put in one email every week?
Yeah. I agree. I get a little frustrated when it's a lot of emails. So
Mhm.
do your due diligence, clean out your inbox, get rid of all of the junk in your trunk that you don't need, because it just creates stress. It creates overwhelm. It creates clutter. And we just don't need to be dealing with that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time on that anymore. So it's a really good time waster if you're into time management. Okay, and the 2 more. So if you have kids, your kids' bedrooms, just kind of decluttering and tidying up the kids' bedrooms. I used to always go through their toys, and then I would bribe them. I'd be like, okay, I want you to get rid of all the toys that you don't use, and then we will go and buy one new toy for everything that you're ready to donate, because they kind of filter through toys and don't use them anymore, and they change so quickly when they're younger.
Mhm.
But now, I don't know. I have one daughter that will rearrange her room every 3 months, and she does declutter really well. And then I have a hoarder. I was like, oh my God, you got to get rid of this stuff. But she loves trinkets. Like, she loves to collect little dust collectors. I hate it. Like, I walk into her room and it gives me anxiety, but for her, it feels safe. It's like living in Saskatchewan, where you can see for miles and there's no hills, or living in BC. And when you're in BC, you've got all the enclosures. And like, growing up in BC, I felt so safe and so comfortable knowing that the mountains and the hills were around me. But then moving to Edmonton, like, it never got dark. It was sunny all the time, and it was very windy, and you could see for miles. But now I'm used to open spaces. So when I go back to BC, I feel like I'm suffocating. I was like, oh, that's so interesting. So I wonder if that happens. Like, the clutter can keep you safe, but when you actually declutter and you get rid of that, it is liberating, and you do feel free, and you feel like you can breathe, and you feel like you can focus. So when you do actually take the plunge to releasing clutter, it's amazing how much weight is lifted off of your chest and how much focus comes into play. And I never would have believed that, and that was really just from my environment, from my surroundings, but it's true.
Mhm.
And the last one is your decor. So again, just, your seasonal decor, your outside stuff, like cleaning up the outside of your house. I know one time, I think it was last year, we had left our Christmas lights up year round. I was like, we're going to win a prize. We're going to win a prize for having our Christmas lights up the longest. But you know what? You end up having to replace them because they don't weather very well. Learned that from experience. Okay, so that's how to get started. Okay, so we're going to do your fridge, your desk, your purse, your closet, your digital, your inbox, your kids' rooms, and your decor. That's where you start with your 4-box method. What am I going to trash? What am I going to donate? What am I going to keep? And what am I going to, what was the last one? Store and put away. And then the third tip that I want to leave you with is stop buying so much crap. So we as women can be emotional compulsive buyers. And sometimes we just buy shit because it looks pretty. And sometimes we just buy shit because it's on sale. So I really want you to ask yourself, do I need this? Is this going to enhance my life in any way? Or is this just going to make me feel good for the next 5 minutes? And this is going to look really cute in my house for the next 2 minutes or two days. And then after that, I'm going to be like, oh my God, why did I buy that? And it's just another dust collector. So how many dust collectors do you need? Really? So that's the third tip.
So
just question your purchases.
So I'm curious, and I want to ask this out to everybody, but I want to ask you, Katrina, but do you have something that you kind of, I don't want to say maybe hoard is a good one, but do you have something that you like to collect and that you're kind of embarrassed to tell? Because I do.
What are you hoarding in that house? Okay, there's two things. Definitely books. I have a huge problem buying books. And even like, I love chapters. I love walking into chapters. I love the smell. I love the whole like feeling that I get when I go into a chapters. And then I'm always looking at, ooh, what's new? Like, what do I need to know? And so yeah, definitely books. You know what? The funny thing is that I usually buy my books on Amazon. But I will read titles and I just love the smell of like a book. But I like I like tangible books. So books would be the first one. And then probably purses. Like I have a problem with purses. I'm always, yeah, my husband, yep. We don't need the peanut gallery right now. But I like functional purses. And then I have a few pretty purses that really don't do much for me. But again, I'm always trying to find that functional, pretty purse that will hold my keys and my phone in a proper place. So I usually get those like the half backpacks that go across your body so that I can throw my keys and my phone in the front. But I really don't I like to have that front pocket that is big enough to fit the keys. And I don't have that. So then I get mad and then I make my kid carry my keys or in my pocket. What are your hoarding problems?
Oh man, if my partner was watching this, but I have a thing about shopping bags, not like plastic grocery bags, the shopping bags with the little handles that are either plastic or paper. And you get them from nice stores and they're nice and thick. I have shopping bags from many, many, many years ago that I just don't get rid of. And they take up when you get so many, they take up space. And, I showed when I first started dating my current partner, he found the spot where I keep all my bags. He's like, Renee, why do you need these? They're just bags. I'm like, I know, but I like them. I may use them one day.
You never know. Well, and nowadays, all of your plastic bags are becoming obsolete. So you're actually kind of ahead of the game. I have the shopping bags too. And I will pile them at the front door and then try to remember because I have to bring them to my trunk. Do you know how many times I've gone to the bloody store and forgotten my bags at home? Because you bring them in, you unload all your groceries, and then I just hang them on the banister. But to take them off the banister and get them back into the trunk of my car, exactly. Well, oh my God, that's a chore. Like, that's an ordeal. So
yeah, if I got rid of all my bags, I would have some good space if I got rid of those bags.
There's a comment. It's time to let them go, Renee. It's time to let them go.
I know. It's funny. I have a place for them though, because I'm like you, a place for everything and everything in its place. The problem that I have with that is if I don't have a place for it, I make it sit out in the middle of my dining room or the middle of my living room until I find a space.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it'll annoy you, eh?
Yeah, but the problem is it can sit there for months. That's the problem because I get used to it. And because I live in a very small place, like it's very small. Everything's at a premium here. I live in Toronto, right? Everything's expensive. And so my place is very small and I don't have a lot of storage. So it's like, if I want to keep this, I got to find a place for it. So it sits out, because I won't.
My personal motto has always been, it's easy to clean a clean house.
Yeah.
So, I clean the house because I have 4 animals. So we do
Oh, yeah.
get hair and dirt, and I have 5 people in the household. So, there's dishes and laundry and whatnot, right? But it's easier to clean a clean house. If I let the house get dirty, then it becomes an ordeal. But if I stay on top of it and everything has a place, then it's so much easier to put things away, to unload the groceries, and then to clean a clean house. It definitely 100%. The kitchen counters get cluttered from every single day, and on the weekends, I will clear everything. Everything is put away. The house is spick and span and spotless. And, usually by Monday at noon, shit's hit the fan again. So I try really hard to keep everything put away. But I mean, the school newsletters come in, the newspaper and the flyers come in, the mail comes in, the recycling comes in. But it's just, it makes a big difference when I take the time to put everything in its place.
Yeah.
So I think, and again, that, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you can have a decluttered house, and if you can have a place for everything, and if you can stop procrastinating and limit your overwhelm, make decisions, live your life on purpose, then you will have better flow through your house and through your day. I love that saying. I was watching It's Complicated, the movie. And it's not, the background story is that it's got Meryl Streep in it. And so she starts sleeping with her ex-husband. And I think it's funny. I just love watching that movie. But I love what she's done with her life. And that's why I love watching it over and over again. It's not that she's sleeping with her ex-husband, but it's the whole storyline that and they say this, you've completely feng shuied your whole life. And I'm like, oh, I love that. Feng shui your whole life. How do you make it flow without obstacles? Well, you clear the clutter everywhere. Feng shui your life, babe. There's my
awesome.
advice. There's my Thursday evening advice.
What a great way. That's a great way to end. Right there.
So that's all I have to say about that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we're gonna come out with an April schedule of what we're going to be talking about. I think we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some important topics, and so just stay tuned and keep watching. And I will make sure I'm going live talking about something. But Renee and I will be, it'll be probably on a podcast form, so you can listen to this while you're walking, while you're on the treadmill, while you're outside, because I know the weather's going to get better. People aren't going to want to sit in front of their computer. So you can still listen to us while you're doing stuff. I don't want you to sacrifice your time, but you clearly need to listen to what I have to say. All right.
Awesome.
Have a great night. Happy Thursday.
Bye, everyone.
Happy March 31st. Bye-bye.